Nigeria now, following moves by the telecommunication companies in Nigeria to threaten to disconnect bank customers from accessing online banking transactions that depend on the Unstructured Supplementary Service Data USSD platform. The Central Bank of Nigeria has said it's going to intervene to resolve the crisis. Who better than Arise business analyst Chika Mbonu to give us a breakdown on what has been going on and how this issue gets resolved? We always give him the tough questions. Chika, you're welcome. Good morning, sir.
Hi. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Thanks for joining us.
So USSD.
Yes.
In a long, unsupported supplementary service, unstructured.
Yes.
Supplementary service data.
Yeah.
So that's I won't say it again.
Okay.
Just know
Of course.
the USSD.
Yeah.
A very important tool, in the financial inclusion challenge or process for the Central Bank of Nigeria or the Nigerian banking system.
Yeah.
Because principally, it does not require internet for you to access the banking service.
Yes.
Unlike the other mobile banking services that you have to go through the internet or Android phones and so on and so forth. Any kind of phone that you have, including feature phones, you can actually use them to access the banking service. So for the unbanked, for the vulnerable, for the people in the remotest areas of the country, especially where there's a telephone network, you can access banking service.
Okay.
So you can imagine that is a very important tool in financial inclusion. And that's why, therefore, Central Bank has been trying to make sure that, that it stays.
Yeah.
No, so the issue is now, is it a banking service or is it a telecom service?
Key question, very key.
Key question. So banks ride on the back of the telecom companies.
Yes.
To be able to, there's a two-way communication between your phone and the bank app or the bank's platform that they can pass it through the network and then gives you options for you to transact. Now, the issue has been well, customers have to pay for it.
Yes.
But the issue now, who has responsibility for charging this? Now, you also know that for the banks, when money enters in, it's difficult to come out.
Yes.
This problem has proved intractable. And about 3 years ago, it reared its head.
Yes.
And the Central Bank came in and to resolve it.
Yes.
And I think that time one charge amount of 6.98 naira was put out there. And banks have been, debiting customers for that and passing on the money to the telecom companies. Now, but I think one of the major issues now has to do with what is defined as a successful transaction. The bank's platforms have been orchestrated, designed in such a way that if you access the system, it is when you complete the transaction that they will charge you.
Yes.
Put that one side.
Of course.
Telecom companies, it is once you access, do your star, whatever, they will start charging you.
Right.
Are you with me?
I'm with
you. So for them, that's a successful transaction. Whereas for banks, that's the other one is that when the transaction is completed. So even if you access the network and then you failed, it's a fair transaction, then the telecom companies expect you to be charged.
Yeah.
So, but the bank's platforms have been designed in such a way that it's only successful transactions that we charge. Okay. So you can see there's a gap, a difference somewhere.
Yeah.
And that has been accumulating, and that has caused a lot of problem. Especially also when you have a big overhang in the back. Even the 6.98 was set up so that to enable them also be clearing the old debt.
Yeah.
But you see, the issue then is who will bear this cost.
Right.
The telecom companies are saying, banks, you owe us in the past. But with banks, once money goes in, it's like all the profits are declared, even though they've paid. You said they should bring out 120 billion out of it.
Wow.
So 120 billion is like the profit one of the top 5 banks made.
Yeah.
So that's what they want them to vomit and pay.
Yeah.
And so that's a difficult thing. So they go for meetings and there's no progress. Because the banks are saying, we cannot, this is gone. Right. We cannot reverse this. Telecom companies are saying, you owe us. And then now they're threatening to do this. So when the two elephants fight, they say the grass grass suffers.
Can you speak on that, Chika? Because if they cut it off, won't individuals that use...
That's why I say that, even though I don't have the percentage of the banking system that, but a lot of the people in the bottom of the pyramid
use USSD.
This is how most of the people the drivers, even a lot of the staff. I've actually used it before when Nigerian network is that's when mobile banking apps are down. I use it.
USSD, right.
So everybody uses it really, and so the whole system is going to be in problems. And that's why CBN is very frantic to make sure that there's a solution somewhere.
So. What do you think that's? I know it's up to the CBN, but if you want to speculate, does that mean the CBN will bear the cost, or
no? Everybody has a shift position.
Right.
Remember, I said there was a 6.98 that was already agreed.
Yes.
And they've been charging that, I believe, and the CBN, they report that banks have been remitting that to the telecom companies. So now the gap is again how to define what is successful transaction.
Yes.
So that has to be cleared.
Yes.
Banks are saying, see, when the customer transact completely, that's when we know we can charge the customer.
Right.
Not when it just does stars, that's telecom companies are saying that's for us. Even if the transaction is not completed, you must charge the customer.
Right.
But the banks apps or softwares are programmed to only charge successful transactions. So there's a big gap there. So I'm hoping that what is involved. I'm hoping that everybody. Interestingly, the telecom companies are declaring mega profits. Massive profits.
Yes.
So, this is a Telco to MTN and Airtel, but the banks are also declining big profits.
They are. So there you go.
But, everybody is fighting their fight. It's like Sudan now,
Exactly. But Chika, as a banker, accountant, are you siding with the banks? Do you think, who do you think has a better case here?
I'm among the masses. I'm at the bottom of the pyramid. I use it. The CBN and the telecom companies, please, we beg you people to resolve this issue. To
solve it.
So that, we don't suffer.
Right. Do you think, I was going to ask you, do you think that 6.9 might be revised upwards? Or if that is the case, I guess that will have an impact.
Okay, let me say something that has not been said.
Yes.
The telecom companies also don't want to be seen as charging their customers.
Right.
That's an image thing about this.
Okay.
Are you following me now?
Yes.
The banks already have the bad image, so let's push it on to them. And so that's basically another undercurrent in this thing.
Yes.
And so the telecom companies say, if you want to send fax, you want to watch movie, you want to do in a bank setting, if you want to do, you just get your data
and do it.
And do your Netflix.
Yes.
Netflix doesn't pay anything to the telecom companies. Telecom collect their money.
Right.
So why can't it be like that in this type?
Chika, I want a minute. I want to pick your brain on something else. Do you think this is part of the competition between telcos and banks for financial services? The PSB license and all that. Well, how do you say that?
Undercurrent too. Undercurrent too.
Yeah.
But for some reasons, the kind of mobile banking that we have in Ghana, for example, or even Kenya, hasn't evolved much in Nigeria here because of some guardrails that the CBN has put, in there. So because if with phone only you can open an account.
Exactly.
You can imagine MTN with about almost 70 million subscribers.
Right.
Check the banks. They were going to wipe out a lot of banks. So there are things there, So
very fascinating.
The market is rich and everybody's fighting for it.
Chika, I love asking you. Final question: just if we have a change in the CBN leadership, do you think those guardrails could we change and become more like Ghana or Kenya? Is that a possibility?
And whenever they talk about changing CBN governor, remember, CBN is an institution.
Correct. That's correct.
There's some people who worked in CBN for 20 years, 30 years. And
so they have their sets.
They have their way. The CBN, even if I appoint a new CBN governor today, it's not just going to come and bring 200 new people into the CBN.
Correct.
You're going to work just like most people, that when you say, I'll do this, when you're outside. When you enter inside, everything changes. You understand the peculiarities. One thing I told you is, you want to bet with me that Bola Tinubu, if it's inaugurated on May 29th, will do ways and means.
Wow.
Yeah.
We'll see how things will work out.
He will do ways and means.
We'll see how it works out. All right, business analyst Chika Mbonu. Chika, as always, thank you for breaking these things down for us. I appreciate your time.